Hey everyone, this is James, and it is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, March 9th, and this is my 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. This is BTC USDT, and like I said, this is the 4-hour chart, so every bar represents 4 hours if you're new to the videos. Basically, what I like to do on my videos is to recap, that way if anybody's new to the analysis, they know exactly where we're at. So if you see that we've traveled in this downtrend since December 15th, we've broken out of that downtrend, and now we're having a corrective move, I believe. Basically, what I like to show too is that the left half of this, you can see the volatility, you can see how hot the market was. You know, there are wild swings back and forth, and now you can see how muted the market is compared to what it used to be just a couple months ago. I think this is we're reaching like that normalization of the market. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, another thing too is that this is not investment advice, okay? This video is done for educational purposes. So now let's go ahead and zoom in. We have the gray lines that you see here. The gray lines represent the old downtrend. And as you can see, I talked about this in my prior video that we could hit this area and bounce off of it, and that's exactly what we did. We used it as a springboard. The next thing I talked about was the Guppy run, and that is exactly what we're in right now, the Guppy run. And I said that I expected price to potentially reach up to about the mid 10,000 range. It was a little higher in my prior videos, but as we progress into time and space, the figures get lower and lower because now we're working against a downslope that you can see by the red line. The downslope, that is this red line, you can see that price is reacting to this frequency. This frequency is showing the travel of price action between buyers and sellers. There's a lot of energy here. A lot of energy got expended. So I said that in order to recapture that energy, we would have the guppies push it up, and then the whales dump it back over for possibly one more leg down. Now, there's going to be a couple things that determine whether that leg down is going to occur or not. What will determine that is if we get rejected in this area. So if the guppies cannot hold it, and there's no big buyers here, and there's more sell orders than obviously buy orders, guess what? We're going back down. And it's not going to be a pretty move to the downside, because a lot of people are going to get caught and the market's going to be shallow, and when it does dump, it should be very brutal, just how this was, maybe even more severe than what the prior drop was. Now, if we break the 10,000, like let's just say 10,450, 10,500 right now, that figure is going to change. Do not get hung up on the numbers, or you're going to be extremely disappointed. I do not trade based on numbers. I trade based on lines and price action, and that's it. Because those numbers can change very quickly, and you have to be ready to go with it. So anyways, that's my target, is probably about the mid 10,000 range. From there, I think there's going to be one more rollover. The only thing that's going to negate that, like I said, is if we bust out of this line. I do these videos 2 times a day for Bitcoin because the price action is so volatile, typically like within like the intradays. But also too, I typically cover like Litecoin and Ethereum every other day. I plan on doing a video on those tonight. I plan on doing those yesterday, but it just I got way too busy. But anyways, this is what I see with Bitcoin and where it's heading. If we do move up during the little guppy run that I think we're going to have, and we roll over, I think there's a possibility that we do break this low that we just put in here and possibly move into the maybe like the high 7s. We could be looking at maybe like 7.7, 7.6 area possibly, and then that would create a longer term structure. Now that is only going to happen if we get rejected at this area. If we get rejected at this area hard, it's going to be a fast vertical drop, and then probably something like this till we break out the side later on down the road. Basically on the bigger picture, if we break below the 6,000 mark, right? If we hit this area and we roll over and we break 6,000, it is going to be brutal for this market, okay? It's going to be extremely brutal. Now, if we rise and then we fall and we have a very vertical drop, there's a possibility we could still reuse the old trend line as a bouncing point and still put in a higher low than the 6,000 bottom, okay? So I don't want to get hung up on the numbers in the future, but what I'm telling you right now is that based on my analysis, based on all the upward trend lines that we have broken, if you've been following my videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've broken 2 already. We're in a third one right now that I think is the Guppy run, and I think this one will also be broken. As we broke those, we barely even touched. We barely even, like when we broke, we barely even came back and retouched it. It was just a very rapid downward movement, and that is typically a huge red flag that you have to pay attention to. So we'll see what happens tonight and into the weekend, but typically how the weekends work out with Bitcoin is that Friday and Saturday can be like positive days, let's say, right? And we can have some good market movement, and then by Sunday or Saturday night to Sunday, there's typically an erasing move to those to that positive movement. So if price goes up throughout the weekend, chances are we'll come back down, and then Monday through the week we'll carry it back up. So we'll have like an upward movement, and then like we'll move like one step back, and then decide to actually correct in that. And I think that has a large portion of that has to do with the futures market too. It's so that price doesn't run away on the futures, and it kind of stabilizes the market in that aspect. Okay, that's just my opinion on that whole thing, but it's something that I've noticed, along with that the nights get crazy typically like after 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is when I used to do my videos. The market typically starts to get red hot and things start to occur, especially closer to 6:30 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again around 4 to 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when price, I notice, typically starts to turn direction. So if overnight it's going up, I notice that about that time price is already like starting to go back down, or it's starting to like mark an area where the turnover is going to occur, whether it's up or whether it's down like this, so anyways, those are just some observations that I've made in the market. I'm expecting the weekend run to be the little guppy run. Typically the weekend markets are shallow, so it'll allow the little guppies to do their thing, and then as we have that rollover, I'm expecting it to be fairly brutal, just like this, if we get rejected at this point. If we do not, obviously this analysis that I just explained to you is negated, and you cannot listen to it, and we just have to forget it, and the red lines get deleted, and then we have some uptrend structure to this market, and we start to resume the upward movement in Bitcoin. However, we started having lines that were like so, and then we had another line like this, and now you can see the slope of the green line. So if we do take on this slope and we do move, like let's just say something like this, right? I'm just doing this for visualization purposes. This is not the future projection of price right here, unless somehow I have a crystal ball, but this is the way that price should react. Now you can see that's a very slow and steady movement up a nice slope. A slope that I've been talking about, that in order, I think, for the market to survive, this is based on my opinion, is that we need a nice normalization and smoothing of the market the same way you would see like in the stock market. Okay, if you pull up a stock market chart, yes, there's some wild swings, but overall, if you zoom out far enough, we have a nice slow and steady creep, and obviously you'll have the tech bubble and various things like that, the mortgage crisis, and etc. But basically, if we can get that and we can achieve that, especially in Bitcoin, okay, I don't know about the altcoins. The altcoin, a lot of those things are probably going to die, and they need to. There's 1,500 of them, or more than 1,500. Who knows? There's a coin for everything now. You can basically just make your own coin like in your grandma's basement. Obviously, I'm being facetious there, but like that's the reality of it. There's literally over 1,500 of them. They need to start disappearing quickly, and as that happens and the power gets consolidated like into Bitcoin, even like Litecoin and Ethereum, if they're still hanging out there, then we'll have this nice slow movement. The integrity of the market will be intact, and I think we'll start to see that the cryptos are here to stay, and they're here to become a replacement to fiat. And I do think that that will attract bigger buyers, okay? But when you're in a market where the volatility is this insane, okay? If you were a big buyer, like, back in here, back in this range, of course you'd hang on. Of course you'd hang on. You're in the 4,000s or lower. Like, why would you not hang on? Especially if you have that. First of all, you got to hang on for tax reasons. And then second of all, your position is so big that even if you went to go liquidate it all immediately, you would literally destroy the market. So there has to be a strategy laid out to liquidate those positions. But, when we're looking at new money being attracted to this market, okay, you can't have this wild and crazy stuff. You can't have people managing tens, hundreds, millions of dollars to tens and hundreds and billions of dollars say, oh, this looks like a great market to enter into when you see this wild and crazy price action. Okay, so if we can build that integrity, that nice structure, something that you see in the stock market, something that you see in the fiat markets, then obviously that'll help people like big money come into this market and believe in the market the same way that they would make their investment in the NASDAQ, for example. You could use the QQQs, you could use the TQQQ. There's other like ETFs that you can use as an investment advisor, stockbroker, etc., hedge fund manager, blah blah blah. And you can invest your client's money into that. But if I told you right now that you had $100 million to manage, would you throw it all in Bitcoin? And chances are your answer is going to be no. At least I think that's what it would be, especially if you've been trading for a long time. You know that there's a large volatility here, and this is more of your higher risk money that you're using. This is speculation money right now in this market, majority of it. And I think that's why you see that wild and crazy volatility. But as that volatility gets beat out and we start to have a smoothing to this market, I think for the long term of the market, like I was just saying, that it'll provide a solid structure for big money to come into to support this market, into the future. Just same way like the stock market, right? So, anyways, but that's the overall big picture. I told you what I plan on happening probably over the weekend, and then by Monday, I imagine Sunday night, Monday, everything gets erased, and we possibly have one more leg down. Obviously, everything's going to change day to day. That's why I do these videos. So I just want to thank everybody for their time tonight. I hope you have a great day, great weekend, or great night, depending on where you are in the world. I do thank you for your time. If you do like the video, you do like the content, please like, share, and follow. Also, provide your feedback, comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know maybe if there's something you want me to talk about, or maybe if you even disagree with something that I say, like write it down there. I mean, as long as it's constructive criticism, it's fine, or like a healthy debate. But if you start trolling, I'm just going to ignore you. But, just talk, and I'll try to answer as fast as I possibly can. I do value, others' opinions. People share their charts too. I have a Slack community that's really cool. If you're interested in the cryptocurrency market, I would highly advise that you join this Slack community. There's a lot of like-minded traders, and they share their own opinions, news, charts. It's just it's an awesome place. There's about 150 members or a little more now, and it's a great place to be. It's a great group to be a part of if you are looking and you're interested in the cryptocurrency market. So that's it for tonight. Tomorrow morning I will post a video around maybe 6:30 to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as night progresses, I'm expecting more upward movement.